guys, I'm Cameron and welcome back to my channel where we sip tea and also spill the tea as I talk about some of my favorite reads. So in today's video, I am going to be bringing you some winter book recommendations. So Christmas is literally right around the corner. Like, as I'm filming this, it's 2 days away. So as Christmas comes and passes, January comes to say hey. And over here in Texas, that finally means that it may actually be below 60 here. So I thought it would be only fitting to finally bring you some dark and chilly recommendations to read while you're cozy and warm underneath your blankets. So without further ado, let's get into my winter recommendations. So the first book on my list is actually a book that I literally just read like a week ago, and it was amazing, and it delivered such dark and chilling vibes, and it was just perfect for this type of season that is approaching us. And so since I loved it, I want to share the love to you guys and share this amazing recommendation, and that is Killing Sarai, which is the In the Company of Killers series. So this is the first book, Killing Sarai, and Reviving Isabel is the second book. So this is about a girl named, obviously, Sarai, and she has the misfortune of being a sex slave out in Mexico to a drug lord. And she has been stuck being a sex slave for about 10 years, I believe, and she has been trying nonstop to find a way to get out of the situation that she's currently in. And so fate delivers a way out in the form of a very sexy and very dangerous assassin who comes to this compound that she's staying at to talk to the drug lord, the drug boss, whatever you want to call him. And the drug lord is trying to give him some money so that he can assassinate somebody of his choosing. As soon as Sarai hears this guy talk, this assassin, she knows that he's American, and she is actually from America. So she believes that since this guy is American, this assassin, that if she somehow ends up getting close to this American assassin, that he will take her across the border back home. So our girl, she already knows, like, yeah, he's an assassin. He's probably not the best guy. He may be a little dangerous, which he is exactly that, but our girl's desperate and she wants to get the heck out of Dodge. So she ends up planning an escape attempt, and she escapes the compound and sneaks into this assassin's vehicle. Whenever he makes it to his vehicle and he starts to drive off, our girl Sarai pops up and aims a gun at his head and tells him to take her the heck away from here and get her across the border. So our assassin, being deadly and being dangerous, immediately nits the situation in the book. He somehow apprehends Sarai, and the tables are turned. He ends up kidnapping her and using her as leverage to try to get more money from the drug dealer. So our girl Sarai instantly finds out that she just went from one bad guy, which is the drug dealer, to another bad guy, and she has found herself in a bad situation. But she realizes, like, maybe this is her chance to try to convince the assassin to help her instead of working against her. So from here on out, our assassin and Sarai end up forming a type of partnership, and adventures ensue. And as these adventures ensue, there's a little bit of tension that builds up between Sarai and the assassin, and that tension is, of course, sexual tension. And from there, it just gets very, very dark and very, very twisted and very, very sexy. You guys, this series was so phenomenal. This was the type of series where there is action going on non-freaking stop. I'm not even kidding. Like, this book has you on your toes, and right when you think that the action is over, that's it, something else happens, and this series literally had me staying up until the crack of dawn, and I was so tired, but I was not complaining whatsoever because this series was just absolutely incredible. And it was totally deserving of my lack of sleep. And guys, this is just the type of book that is perfect for one of those long, dark, and winter nights. Like, you want to cuddle up in your blankets, make yourself a blanket fort, give yourself some snacks, because you're going to be in your bed for a while. You're not going to want to get up and put this book down. So pick this book up, read it, and thank me later, because I guarantee that if you like dark romance, then you will love this book, okay? It just makes my dark and depraved heart so happy. Okay, so let's get on to the next book. So the next book in this video, which is the second book in this list, guys, it is so dark. So dark, and it is so scary. To this day, it is literally more wicked than any of the Insidious movies, and this book itself, like, I really believe it deserves its own movie. Like, it deserves a movie series. This book is no other than Dark House by Karina Halley, which is a part of the Experiment in Terror series. So this follows a girl named Perry, who she has always been able to see things that other people cannot see, and aka, spoiler alert, no, well, it's not really a spoiler, it literally tells you on the back, but our girl Perry, she can see spirits, okay? Her and her family go out to visit some family relatives, and on her relative's property, there's a lighthouse. Our girl Perry, she likes danger. She eats that crap up like it's candy. And so she goes out to this lighthouse in the middle of the night. Yes, our girl Perry, she is such a smart cookie, right? But she decides to go out to this lighthouse, which is abandoned, by the way. She is just looking around, and then she happens to meet a guy named Dex, who is doing some type of ghost hunting, and Dex, for some reason, he decides after meeting Perry that she's perfect for this ghost hunting series that he wants to film, because he is a web creator, and so he approaches Perry and he tells her, you know what, I think you're perfect for my web series. I am trying to do a ghost hunting type of film, and I think you would be a great host for it. So our girl Perry is like, why the heck not? So she agrees to this show with this guy who, let me just add, she barely knows. I don't think that's the smartest choice to do. You meet somebody in the middle of the night, a stranger, and you decide to have a web series with them, but whatever. That's Perry for you, you guys. She likes danger. So they decide to make this web series together, and they think that the dark house, the lighthouse, is the perfect place to film their series, because there has been a lot of suspicious demonic activity that has been reported for like years at this lighthouse, and so they start to film at this lighthouse every day, and every night when they go out there, something strange and crazy and just beyond creepy happens, and you guys, from there on out, this book just starts to get more and more wicked, okay? This book haunted me for months after, and it got to the point where one night I was reading one of the books in this series, which there's like 12 books in the series, by the way, maybe 10 books or something. There's a lot, okay? It got to the point where I was so scared, I was having nightmares, and I could not stand being alone in my room, so I had to call a friend to talk to me. I was that terrified, you guys. So if you like darkness, if you like reading about monsters and demons, and you like all that type of paranormal type of situations, then definitely check this book out. And also, I have to say, the romance between Dex and Perry, because there will be some sparks, there will be some tension, there will be some steamy moments. It is amazing. It is one of the best romances that I've ever read. Dex and Perry are some of the most well thought out and well written characters who I've ever read, and they just have such a great relationship, and it's so complicated too. This series, the relationship between Dex and Perry, it's definitely something that you have to wait for. It is a slow burn romance, and they don't get together until you are well into the thick of the series, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So at this point, I decided to take a short break, and during that short break, I managed to lose my freaking hat. So that look of pure utter horror that you see in my eyes, that is the look of a hatless girl who is very sad. So the third book on my list is a book that I have talked about so many times, but I just have to bring this up again because I absolutely love it, and I want everybody else to love it just as much as I do. And it is just the perfect book to read during this dark and wintry season because it definitely delivers on the atmospheric and wintry vibes that we are looking for. And that is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So this follows a girl named Poppy, who she is what you call a maiden. And in this kingdom that she's living in, the maiden is somebody who they are a symbol of divine purity. And so because our girl Poppy, it symbolizes this divine purity, she's clothed in a veil and nobody can touch her, nobody can look at her. So our girl Poppy lives a very, very isolated life, and she's also somebody, since she is this divine symbol, she is protected so much from anybody who would ever try to hurt her or harm her. So she is assigned a new guard named Hawk, and so as she gets to know her new guard Hawk, she starts to feel some very, very impure feelings for this man, and these feelings are also returned by Hawk. And this is something that is very, very bad because this relationship that she starts to build with her guardsman is something that it is definitely forbidden, but these two crazy kids start to not even care about that. They want to be together, you know. And as this relationship starts to build up, there are so many other things that are happening. There are all these different types of paranormal creatures that are at play in this story, such as vampires and lycans. There are so many different war scenes, and it is definitely a series that there are so many layers to this book, and the romance is just off the charts. It is just the greatest, most epic adventure story ever, and I just love Hawk. He is literally so amazing, and I would recommend this book to absolutely anyone and everyone. It is perfect for this winter season. So that is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So the next book on my list is another darker book, and it is the only book that is actually a part of the YA genre. And guys, let me just tell you, it is such an amazing series. So this book is called The Immortal Rules by Julie Kagawa. So guys, this is set in a post-apocalyptic world where vampires have risen up and they are the high and mighty, as the humans are at the bottom of the totem pole, and they basically have the options to either be blood bags to the vampires or to fight for survival as they live in the streets, while the vampires live in these great and cushy and swanky homes. So our main girl, Allison Sacramento, she is somebody who she's part of a street gang, and she's basically fighting to survive, and the only thing that keeps her going is her hate for the vampires who are the rulers of this society. And so one night she ends up finding herself in a situation where she is about to die and go to the other side. But before she dies, a vampire ends up coming around and saving her and turning her into what she despises the most, aka, you guessed it, a vampire. So our girl Allison, when she wakes up and she realizes she's a vampire, she is so upset and she is just kind of depressed. But she does realize that she doesn't want to die. She wants to keep on living. So she ends up being trained by her sire. And so something happens where Allison ends up having to travel with these groups of humans who are no other than vampire hunters as they try to find this cure that they believe, I think that they believe will end vampirism altogether, but don't quote me on that. I may be wrong. It's been a while since I've read this series, but I believe that's what they're searching for. And so our girl Allison, in order to find this cure, she ends up disguising herself as human and trying to live amongst this group of vampire hunters. And while this is going on, she ends up forming a romance and starting to have feelings for one of the main vampire hunters. And guys, this book is just so spectacular. This book series, it was written and made to be read during the winter time, because what better time to read it than during a cold and wintry evening. It's just so amazing. I love this book and I recommend this to anybody who loves a darker read and who also loves a forbidden romance as well, because this doesn't get more forbidden than a vampire hunter and a vampire starting to fall in love with one another. Like, it's spectacular. It's amazing. It is literally like my crack cocaine. So that is The Immortal Rules by Julie Kagwa. Okay guys, so we have made it to the final book on this list, and the book that I'm going to be recommending to you is A Promise of Fire by Amanda Bouquet. So I do want to say that this is not a dark read. But while this is not a dark read, this book just takes you on such an epic and long journey that will have you flipping the pages one after the other. And this is definitely the type of book that you want to be curled up in your blankets next to a warm and savory fire as you devour these pages. So let me tell you what this book is about. So this follows a girl named Catalina who goes by Cat, and she's actually on the run from her crazy homicidal mother who is trying to get her hands on Catalina. And so while she's on the run, she is pretending to be a fortune teller as she travels with this traveling circus. And while she is giving her fortunes to all these different people, she happens to come across a man named Griffin. And Griffin soon finds out that she is not everything who she says she is. She's not just your everyday fortune teller. He comes to realize that she is somebody who she can see the truth in lies, and that is a gift that is very, very powerful, and it's something that is very sought out for in this land she's traveling through. And so as Griffin finds this out about our girl Catalina, Catalina finds out that Griffin is no other than this prince who has just conquered this land, and she knows that she has to get away from this guy as soon as possible, because she knows with princes who have just conquered lands that they will do anything to keep these lands that they have conquered, and she knows that she is basically like candy to these types of people. So she soon tries to run away, but our man Griffin and his band of merry men go after her and catch her, and they end up trying to take her back to their kingdom and to their castle. And so while they're trying to take her back to the castle, our girl does whatever is necessary to try to escape these men. And guys, let me just say, our girl here, she is so spunky and she does not give up, and she is somebody who she can definitely take care of herself, and she knows how to fight, and I loved that about her. And what I also loved was her relationship that was built between Griffin. Like, it was just so funny, and there was such a back and forth banter between them that is just non-stop. This is definitely an enemies to lovers, and if you know me, then you know that I freaking eat that crap up. It is like a feast to me. I love a good enemies to lovers, and this is one of the best enemies to lovers that I've ever read because it's just so humorous, and while this book provides such non-stop action and such a great adventure as our girl's trying to get away from this man, it's also just, it's funny, and it brought such a smile to my face as I was reading this book. And side note, let me just tell you that as Griffin is trying to take her back to their kingdom and she's trying to perform all these elaborate escape attempts, there is also a lot of action going on, and as her homicidal crazy mother is sending all these people to try to kidnap her and bring her back to her loving arms. So guys, this book was amazing. The romance was just so well done, and I just have such a special place in my heart for this book. If you just want a book to give you the warm and fuzzies while you are next to a fire, then definitely check this book out. And let me tell you, it's not just gonna be the fire that is heating you up. Like, there is some steamy scenes between Griffin and Catalina that may actually bring you to the point to where you have to put an end to that fire, because there is a whole other fire occurring in these pages, you guys. So guys, that is the end of this video. Be sure to read all of those books because all of those books are absolutely amazing to read during this winter season. And as always, thank you so much for watching my videos. If you liked this video, then please make sure to like and subscribe. And please comment down below if you have any other suggestions for some dark and wintry books to read during this atmospheric and chilly time of the season. And guys, I love you so much, and I hope you have a fantastic Christmas. Mwah.